No, I don't need it restricted. No. Next. Why won't it? Done. It won't. Why won't this go?
Can you hear me?
Oh, come on. Really?
Yes, we can.
It won't go live. My thing won't go live, though. I don't understand what's wrong. I did it yesterday with no problem. There we go. I got
it. That music means one thing. It's time for Metaphysical Meanderings with Lana Hartgraves. You're like the pro expert psychic. Is that a new title?
I'm master psychic. I am a master psychic.
Yes.
Yes, there you
All
go.
right. And today we're going to be talking about
Awakenings.
awakenings.
A is for awakenings. I'm doing this alphabetically.
A is for awakenings. So, and we've got a great special guest, so hang in there.
Yes, I will do. Something I think is awesome. So.
Yes. This is going to be fantastic.
I'm live also on my YouTube channel, so I hope I'm getting quite a few people on here. Kind of what we're doing this today is talking about awakenings because I've had a lot of phone calls recently. I do my business by phone call, so if you do not want a phone call, I could do it live like this too, but I always feel awkward. I don't know. But if I'm not on the phone and I'm talking to somebody, I feel awkward when I'm talking, so I'd be on the phone. Anyway, what I'm going to be talking about today is awakenings. But first, I'm going to talk a little bit also about stones and things because it's part of an awakening. Now, anybody have you heard of the Great Awakening? Yes, he nods his head. Okay. So what we're talking about a little bit is when you have an awakening, it shakes you to your core. And sometimes you have to go through a lot. Now, you may be, I don't know about everybody else, but you go through like the dark soul of the night where you're at your darkest, lowest low. And that's when your awakening happens. And when I'm talking about awakening, I'm talking about all your gifts. Okay. Now, I know that for some people, and the person I'm going to be putting on here, she's gone through an awakening because I know her really well. She's a good friend of mine. Matter of fact, on my YouTube channel, she's got a link to her station. So, and her name is Tamika. So how we can put Tamika on here in a second. She's on right now. Can she hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Cool.
How are you?
Good morning.
So, Tamika, how are you? Now, I know that I can barely hear you.
Let's see.
Okay.
Can you hear me better now?
Okay. All right.
Is that better?
Now, when you opened up your store, didn't you kind of go through an awakening?
I want to say I've been through several awakenings.
Yeah.
Definitely. Opening my store wasn't directly connected to me going through an awakening, but I have went through an awakening. The most recent one is the one that I asked for your help with a few months ago. Remember?
That's how we know each other.
It was scary. I now think they were pretty fun, but they're not.
Now, tell me for you, what were some of the symptoms?
Loss of sleep.
Yep.
Really high vibration in my body.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like I was laying on a human-sized vibrating pad or something. Just really anxious, real bad anxiety, really, really vivid dreams, in which it almost, and I'm sure that I did, like astral project quite a bit during that time. And different, I could feel guides literally reaching me as in, like literally touching me. If you can remember, I felt touches on my face and
on your shoulders.
Yeah, it was really freaky.
Now I know for a fact that sometimes when you go through a trauma, you have an awakening too. For me, it was my mother died suddenly. I mean, suddenly. Mm-hmm. and I went through an awakening. Now, for you, wasn't it like you nearly died, right?
Yeah.
Remember? Okay, so fill us in a little bit.
Well, that was really recent, more recent even than the one.
Mhm. You've had a couple. I would say you've had about 3. It's like a stare for her.
That experience was so traumatic that I think I almost blocked it out. You know how we put things in the vortex, and then so I went hiking on a mountain. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah.
I went hiking on a mountain, and in a mountain with this couple, and I'll make a long story really short. My grandmother passed away, which she was like the closest thing to me next to my kids. She passed away on her birthday last year, which is coming up to the anniversary on the 16th of this month. And I told the couple that I was hiking with, I said, I usually feel my grandma with me everywhere that I am, but she hated the mountains. The mountains was a deal breaker for her. So I said, I don't know if she's here with me. So if we fast forward about 30 minutes, we're done hiking down this, back to the bottom of the mountain, and I get in my car, they get in theirs, we go our separate ways. So I'm sightseeing, and I'm alone, by the way. My kids were sleeping. They didn't want to go. I was visiting Washington State. So anyways, I get to this point of the mountain where I wanted to get out and take pictures. I was driving my son's new little car. I had never driven it before. He just bought it. And it's a manual shift. So I parked it, put the emergency brake on, verify that it was on. I was cool, left the door open. I got out to take pictures and video of an overhang on a cliff. So about 5, maybe 6 pictures in, I get this tap, tap, tap on my left. Yeah, it was on my left shoulder. So I was kind of, startled because there was nobody there with me that I knew of. So I turned around and there was nobody there, but his car was coming for me. So, I'm getting chills talking about it. I was pent down under the front of his car, and I was able to get up after a few minutes, and then I was pent down again because the door was open. So the door knocked me down. I was pent down a second time. And when I got out of that position, the car continued to roll. And there was a little cement stump that stopped it from going over off the cliff. So, and had I not gotten that tap, tap, tap on my left shoulder, I would have went over the cliff.
Yeah.
So I was, I'm actually still dealing with a nerve condition, as a result of the trauma of that experience. But I knew after that happened, it shook me up so bad, but it let me know that, like, you are here for a reason. It sent me into, I want to say, like a third awakening. So it's kind of like, it's kind of given me like superpowers.
Yes. Well, it does. And you know what? Awakening does that, though, because you become more aligned to your soul a little bit. Your chakras align. And now I know that you have your own shop. It's in Rockford, Illinois. It's called what?
Infinite Soul Vibrations.
It's really a cool shop, you guys. I do read occasion out of there. So if you connect to her, you can connect to me too.
So now that she said it, we have to hold her to it.
Yep.
For you.
Okay. Now, the reason I have her on here is not only is she a good friend, but she makes really cool jewelry. She's on my YouTube channel, connected to me. So I'm wearing one of them. See, look at. And so explain now why some of this, like you guys use. I don't know. Can I get like a close up somehow?
Sure.
I really, because I really, and it's all made out of copper. And copper is a really important thing, and it has
a really awesome conductor.
Yes.
So copper is not only. I forgot you had that one.
That I know. That's one of my favorites. I wear that a lot.
Her pieces, guys. She thinks she loses them. She finds them.
No, I found it.
They pop up exactly when you need them, don't they?
Remember, I lost the one. I found it. It was in a plant. It had fallen down, and I found it. So
and copper and crystals are really good for
that was
plants.
turquoise.
So, but yeah, the copper is a really good conductor. So it's not only healing for the physiologically for the inside of the body, and also like bone aches and stuff like that, but it also raises the vibration of your crystals.
Awesome. So for people having awakenings, what stones would you suggest?
Well, I kind of suggest different stones for different situations and awakenings, but some of my favorites are azurite. I'd have to say azurite, azurite and malachite together are awesome for awakening.
Okay.
Damberite is really cool.
What color is damberite?
Damberite is actually clear. Damberite is a really amplified form of quartz.
It is. Okay. I haven't heard. I'll have to look at that one. I know my stones pretty good, but not all of them.
Seen it, and you probably thought it was just regular quartz. I have a pair of glasses that I wrap the azurite right here because you guys, I've got a tumor on my frontal lobe of my brain, which I've used copper and crystals to shrink the tumor and then maintain things, instead of surgery. So damberite is like really good for clearing the vision. It's really good for the third eye. So my tumor's kind of like on my third eye. Okay. So damberite, I use for floaters when I have trouble with big floaters.
Okay.
So damberite is really spiritual, really good for awakening. Angel aura quartz.
There. See? Now, maybe, hey, I have a question for you. Do you think that maybe that reason why so many people, you had just told me everybody wanted angel aura and stuff. Do you think that's maybe
everybody's waking up? Thank goodness.
Yep. Everybody's having an awakening, and we're having a collective awakening is what's going on.
It's time to jump on
thousands and thousands. I mean, I went from about 10 followers a day on my YouTube channel to about 20. And I was told by the end of the year, I have a prediction from a friend, I'll hit over 10,000.
Wow.
So it's because people they just can't take the crap of organized religion. Now, I'm not saying God is bad, and I'm not saying Jesus is bad, but organized religion run by men, people can't do it anymore. That's what's going on. So
let me say something, Lana.
Yeah.
I just want to chime in on the organized religion. And I grew up Baptist. I went to a Catholic school. I now go to non-denominational church. So I have no issue. I love Buddha. So, I'm just
exactly
all over the place. I just love love. So I love love, positive energy, whatever equals that. That's what I love. So, but I just want to say this. A lot of people are stepping out of the realm of the domesticated programming.
Yes.
Coming up. So if you got to think of like the 4 agreements in Miguel Ruiz's book, agreements that we've adapted, from little kids that's like turned into our belief system.
Yes, exactly.
We're like starting to realize like, whoa, this doesn't make sense. Like I was always told, to live by faith and not by sight, and just have faith, and like God can fix it, like all these things, but faith without works is dead. So that's where like crystals come in, and like tapping into your higher spiritual self comes in, because you have to do the work too. And people are starting to realize that things just aren't working when they're not doing the work. So they're like in touch of their higher self.
Well, I keep telling people God helps those that help themselves.
That's right.
And I believe in alignment. I don't believe in manifestation. I believe in alignment, because how you just can't have $1 million come plop down in front of you unless you win the lotto. And we all know that that's harder than getting hit by lightning. But if you are putting the work in to make the $1 million, the $1 million will come to you. So you have to start with a mindset. And you're right. It's exactly right. You have to have a mindset. And that is how you get this to happen. And that's where the awakening is coming from.
And that's like that's a really awesome point, because I love the way that she teaches that. She pushes that all the time. You have to align yourself. So if you're not in alignment, if you haven't aligned yourself, you won't even see the $1 million fall right down in your face, because you're going to be focused on the wrong thing.
Yep.
So part of your spiritual awakening is being able to zone in on things that help you to realize what's what.
I know the more I get into this and the more I preach on it, I know I'm onto something because it just goes back to the old stuff. God helps those who help themselves. And I say it every day to all the people that I read for.
Well, and it's amazing, right? That as believers that we would think that God would create all the tools and put them here for us, but we are only supposed to go to church on Sunday.
Exactly. You got to walk your walk and talk your talk.
That's right.
And I think too that people are, this new age stuff, this crystal stuff. Don't you think God created the crystals?
Yeah, they ain't new.
Duh.
I have personally went and chiseled them out of the mountains. I'm like,
I know. I got to go with you again.
That God didn't create them. And people say, well, do you believe in God? And are you into witchcraft? And I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, exactly. I know. I know. I get asked that too when I'm.
You know how long it took to make these crystals?
Yeah, thank you.
You're not picking them off a tree.
Think about the energy of the earth.
Yeah.
That it got locked into that crystal. Now, here's what I always tell people when they give me a hassle about crystals. Now, what do you put in a radio? What do you put in a computer? Crystals. Crystals, they conduct electricity. Don't tell me there's not something to this. Scientifically.
And right here, what I have right by my computer that I keep by my computer all the time, it's the only natural way to protect yourself from EMF. 5G.
That's right. Remember, I have my video. Yeah, I got right there.
Autism. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, that's shungite. Who created that? God.
I know. People don't believe it, but you take a shungite and you take your phone. Remember, you told me this. It was true. Yeah. And it's the only one you can use it like you do your finger.
Yeah.
The only stone there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. We can visit you at infinitesoulvibrations.com and order a stone.
Or Infinite Soul Vibrations in person in Rockford, Illinois.
Yep.
I'm gonna stop by next week. Maybe Tuesday or Wednesday.
She'll hand make them for you.
Because I've got to get the aqua
aura. He wants an aqua aura.
I've got some awesome ones.
He's got some really pretty ones I've seen.
Right.
Even my crystals that I don't pick out of the earth, I hand pick them. So I've got some of the best to choose from.
Woo! All right.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
See you later. You have to go to your shop, right?
I've got to go in the shop. I do.
Okie dokie. Well, I will talk to you later. Give me a call, girl.
All right. Later.
One of my tribe. So see you later.
Later, baby.
Yep. Okay, got it. There we go. Okay, so as we were talking, crystals, things like this for awakenings. But what I'm going to also concentrate, because this awakening thing is going to take me 3 or 4 weeks to get through because there's so much involved. Okay. Now, how many of you guys are in a place of, or have experienced this, where you feel totally lost and you can't quite figure it out? You're despondent, unhappy, lost. You just feel emptiness and you can't quite figure it out. And it's like you're searching. And I know everybody, I would say everybody that calls me is from the ages of about 22 or 23 to about 50, 51. It's like a whole generation. It's about that's about a 15-year span,
yep.
About whatever. And I call it generation Y and Z because millennials are sometimes called Y, but the whole generation's lost right now. And because of the Great Awakening. So I don't know what you think about that and what have you experienced this?
Probably last year.
You did.
2019.
Okay. Is it before you started this show, this place?
No. I had been in a career for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then I woke up, I hated, I didn't know why I was doing it and whatnot. So I jumped out of there and then I just kind of wandered for a little bit.
Okay.
I was able to make some income and take care of the family. Right. But there's still no meaning or purpose behind.
Well, sometimes, like I notice that you guys can hit it at a certain age too. Was it your midlife crisis?
I hope not, because I'm going to live to 140.
Okay.
So I still got 20 years before I hit my midlife crisis. But so it was before I turned 50. So it was that 49.
Yeah.
And it was just, but then kind of 2020 hit, and it was like,
oh,
damn, let's run.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is like I've said a million times, it's the year of karma.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing now is going to come back to you like 5 times over. Okay. So, and it'll last for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's a 4. Okay. So I think that's why a lot of people are starting to open up and awaken right now. But what happens is when you start doing an awakening, you start doing kind of a shifting your perspective, like you did. Like for me personally, I hit 30 and my mother died suddenly. And I was almost like an orphan because you no longer had anybody to please. And for the first time in your life, you're like, oh my God, you think that you aren't like that until your parent dies and you're young.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wasn't like a kid. I had my own kids, but yet I called her every day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I talked to her every single day. So for me, that was my awakening. And I went through, like, listen to some of these things that went on for me. So if you guys think you're in awakening, because I'm going to be talking about this for a good month because it's a long process, but there's a lot of stuff. If you end up having like your sleep pattern is completely gone. You just forget it. This is another thing. I had heart skipping.
Wow.
I had a lot of heart skipping. I had a lot of tingling because your vibration is picking up. And this is when I realized I'm a psychic. This was all the same time at the same exact. And now some people say that at 30, some people become psychic, that they like, you really don't know your stuff till you're around that age. And all of a sudden you become that. I think I had ability before that because anybody that knows me, I've taught 30 years as a teacher. And my first couple of years of teaching, I was a special ed teacher, and I was a really good special ed teacher. And people could never figure out how I could give the kids what they needed, because I was working with like emotionally disturbed and that kind of thing. And I had one of my supervisors told me, I wish we could bottle and sell what you do with these kids. I can't figure it out. I think I was using my psychic ability. I think.
Sure.
And so I think I probably had it. My mother had it. My mother, matter of fact, when she died, super religious woman, super religious, Bible thumping, devil chasing, 3 times a week, she came and sat on the edge of my bed, and I had a conversation with her. So,
Lisa says awakening had a very positive outcome, but the process can suck.
Oh, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Lisa. It is. You are. I took, by the way, I took my YouTube out. I got to figure out how to get YouTube on here so they can see everything. I got to, I'm getting better with the technology, by the way. We'll get it. We'll get it.
We'll talk
I've got
with the producers.
Yeah, I got about 5,000 people were asking. I mean, they were hitting me. Yeah. So it's okay. Now, so your first stage, you just know something's wrong.
Yeah.
You can't describe what's wrong. You just know something's wrong. And I think a lot of people have had time. The reason that we're doing a great awakening is because we've slowed down. Think about it. If you're going and going and going and going and going all the time, 24/7, like the United States is, all of a sudden you slow down. You have time to think. Mm-hmm. You have time to reflect. You have time to breathe. I know that when people are depressed and stuff and people don't want to think about something sad, what do? They get themselves busy.
Yeah.
So they don't think about stuff. Well, that's part of what this awakening is, I think.
So a good portion of 21/6 Tonight's listeners, of course, are good Christian people.
Yes.
Right? And Jesus talks about being born again.
Yes.
Is that is that the awakening? Is that...
You know what? It's how you view it. See, I have a very different viewpoint on that.
Uh-huh.
My viewpoint is that we literally are born again and we've lived many lifetimes. So that's my point. Now, I'm not going to say that that's right or that's wrong. I'm not, because I like everybody, and some Buddhists, and I don't care. Yeah. Muslims, I'm very accepting of everybody. But you're right. It can be an awakening. Yeah. It can be a realization, an alignment. Here we go again. An alignment with your purpose, alignment with your soul. Maybe you're not on the right track and you've taken a wrong path, and all of a sudden your soul shakes you to your core and says, hey, there's something wrong here. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Lisa says you can get shoved down a path you don't understand, and resistance makes it harder. they nudge you at first when you are stubborn.
Yep.
She said they shove you.
Yes. And, all I know is that some of the physical symptoms are so like, you think you're ill. You get like flu-like symptoms. You can get really super fatigued, or you can get where you can't sleep.
Huh.
And it's like almost like a buzzing that sometimes especially for me as a psychic, I got it's like a tingle. And I've been having it now for a couple of years. It goes and comes and goes. And I kept thinking there's something wrong with me. I got MS or something. It's spiritual. It's a spiritual thing. I think that people don't realize that. So, but it's all happens at once. And I still say we're collectively changing. And I said it before this all happened. And if you'd looked at some of my predictions on Facebook way back in February, I had said it. I just didn't understand. So yeah. and don't think that like something that could, like my mother died. You could be a divorce, an illness. It's usually a trauma that does it.
That sets it. So you can't go out looking for, hey, I want an awakening.
Well, if you are looking for it, you're in an awakening. Does that make sense?
Maybe.
If you're looking for if you're looking for something and you don't know what you're looking for, that means you're lost. Okay. So that's part of the first, you've probably got away from your purpose, and you have to go and look for your bigger purpose. Okay. So, because, like look at stage 1. So you're unhappy, you're lost, right? So the stage 2, you're shifting, your mind is starting to shift. And then you're having all these physical symptoms too. And they're weird ones though for everybody. Everybody's different. Did you have any like sleeplessness? Did you have any kind of?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah. See, you it's like why? Because your soul is restless. You're probably astral traveling.
So somebody like Pete, who's co-owner here of the station, he only sleeps in like 45-minute to an hour stints.
Okay.
So maybe his soul is a little restless.
It could be. It can be physical. So don't think that it's not like but a lot of times I just know that I've had sleep disturbances, and I'm getting back to normal now. But I know that my perspective has completely throughout because I've had you have a couple awakenings sometimes. You do know that. I want everybody to know that sometimes you'll have more than one. Like I had mine at 30 and I hit 50. And I just won't take anybody's crap anymore. I was always been the nice empath, and people would be mean to me, and they would bully me, guys. I mean, bully me. And I would still put up with it because I kept thinking, it's not worth saying anything back. It's not worth, peace at all costs. I'm the empath. Now it's like, go ahead, see what happens.
Yeah.
Push me at work. See, you know what I'm saying? And I'm honoring myself. And that's part of an awakening also. You're honoring yourself more to what your real true purpose is. So I don't know if that makes sense to you, because I think that people need to really pay attention and realize when you're in that process, you can't see it till you're to the other side. But once you're through it, then you look back and go, wow, sure. How did I make that? Because you know what? Usually God's helping you on the other side. You do know that, right?
Yep.
So for your awakening, you still made ends meet.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because God helped you out, because he knew that was coming. So you got your help from your angels and your guides, and he gave you that little, okay? Yeah. So here's a question for you. Do you think you planned it? Do you think this was planned in your whole, because, we plan our whole life when we come here in cooperation with God.
Yeah. You know what? I looking at how this year has shaped up, if I wouldn't have gone through what I went through last year, this year would be very, very difficult. I'm having a great year.
Good.
Right. But at the same time, one of my best friends and mentors passed away early this year.
Okay.
So that was hard that was a tough pill to swallow for me.
Okay.
Because I was very close to him.
Okay.
And I think if I didn't go through what I went through in 2019 with his help, I wouldn't have been able to get through this year the way that I have.
Good. Well, good. I'm glad because and I kind of wondered myself because I know that it's also human. There's a certain age that a lot of people hit, and I would say around 50. Because I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm very connected with the Native American populace.
Mm-hmm.
And they have told me that a lot of the Native American cultures, that people on the community, they're on they're in a group underneath the chief. So they're in.
Yeah. Lisa, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That no one is left on the committee until they're 50.
Oh, really?
And they're all women. A lot of people think that Native Americans, women ran everything. People didn't realize that. Yes, they did. And that chief was just the figurehead.
They still do.
Yes, and they still do. But they won't let anybody on the committees until you're 50 because you got your crap out of the way.
Sure.
So just a thought.
I like what Lisa says. She says, life contracts are something everyone should at minimum be open to possibilities as they bring ease and understanding to many situations. But so many, because of what we are taught early in life, this is voodoo. This is, what do you mean? No, hey, how can this be? And how do you help people who are there open up to the idea of, hey, maybe your understanding is small. Exactly. Not that it's wrong, it's just small.
No, exactly. And see, that's part of it. I just think, and from like what I said, is the whole generation below me. And I feel like I'm one of the leaders. I'm one of the, some people call them indigo children. Some people call them crystal children. I feel like I'm one of the first to lead. And that's kind of where I've been put in. I've been put in where I've been put in on purpose, because my viewpoint is not like my generation. Everybody calls me a wild hippie, and I'm like, no, I'm just very accepting, and I know there's more out there. There's more. How can I do what I do? I mean, I can't even tell you how I can do what I do. I'm at a point now where I have a friend who really, really thinks I should be trying to work with the police, and I'm kind of like, I've never thought about it, and I'm thinking maybe I should be. I don't know. If I could tell you how I can do this, I'd be a gazillionaire.
Oh, sure.
I don't know. There's so much that I don't know, even though as a master, I don't understand completely.
But through your life, especially from 30, you've attracted certain people. I mean, you're
yes.
I think everybody does. People attract a certain kind. Now, throughout my life, I've always attracted the crazies, right? I would call them crazy, but they're the not normal people.
Yeah, different.
Different
right? Minded, different thinking. For me, because I'm a healer, didn't even realize a healer. I've always attracted the ones that need the healing. Yeah, the depressed and the emotionally unstable, the bipolar. I just didn't realize that was part of what I was doing as a special ed teacher originally. Now I'm teaching art, which is a little different, but still the same because it's still spiritual. But, and I do heal. And when people call me, they say they always feel better if they've talked to me because I'm healing. And I'm not bragging. That's my gift. Right. Now, someone else could have a completely gift. And that's part of my awakening also, of realizing your gift. So that's part of the whole, what spiritual gift you bring to the planet. Every single person has one. Some people are like, I don't have any spiritual gifts. I'm an accountant. Well, do you help people with their taxes and take stress off of them? That's a spiritual gift, guys. I mean, just because it's not like you're not a psychic or like myself or a medium doesn't mean you don't have a spiritual gift. Every single person does, and they need to be using it all the time. And that's part of the awakening. And that's part of, that's what I was going to say. And that's something that the fog kind of lifts from your eyes through this awakening. Yes. So your first stage, so going back to your first stage, you're unhappy, you're despondent, you're lost. You're like, oh my God, something's missing. What's missing? Oh my God. everybody goes through this. And a lot of people say it's their midlife crisis because all of a sudden you're like, and you do, because you're like, I'm not aligned. It's not working. Something's not working. Okay. And then you start shifting your perspective and saying, okay, I got to do this differently. So what do I do? You know, you're walking around lost, you know, what's the meaning of life? You know, you literally do that. Did you do that?
Yeah. And my wife, you know, thinking about it, when you said, did you go through a midlife crisis? My wife asked me several times last year, what is going on with you? Are you going through a midlife crisis? What's happening here? And I said, no, I'm not buying a little red convertible. I said,
yeah.
You know.
Well, you know what? Oh, Pete, what's the indigo child? An indigo child has a very deep purple aura. They don't look at life the same. They're artistic, they're sensitive, they're empathic. They just don't, their vibration is different. And they started saying that around the time of the age of Aquarius changed.
Yeah.
That the indigo children have come in. So that you know. All right. But that's what that is. It's like crystal children, indigo children, they're kind of similar. They look at the life differently. Do you notice that people are always saying, oh, you whiny baby millennials. No. They're sensitive. They're indigo and crystal children. They look at life differently.
They sure do.
And so because we're evolving as people, as humans, as spiritual beings.
Well, yeah. And we can talk about it, but that's the part of the awakening is, and I've had that conversation with people. I'm like, no, maybe they're doing it right. Maybe
yes,
we got to take a look internally and say, maybe we've been doing it wrong.
Exactly. And I think that's why, like I said, I'm doing a lot of mentoring of millennials, a lot. And millennials and Y. And I'm an X, so I'm like one above them. So I get it. And I understand where they come from as an empath. I think I would say, okay, I'm writing a book on empaths. Okay. It's called the Empathic Murder. Anyway, and maybe they always say 2 to 4%. And do you know that there really is evidence that says there is such thing as an empath? An empath has a brain that's part of the amygdala that is 18% larger than a normal person.
Wow.
So they have a very dire need to help people. On the flip side, a sociopath has an amygdala that's 18% smaller than average. So they're literally the other half of us, the other side, flip side. So just a thought. Gave you a little science there.
That is interesting.
Yes, it is interesting because I've been doing research on this. So anyway, I really think they used to say 2% of your population. I think that the millennials coming in are more like about 30% empaths. There are a lot higher number of empaths coming in. And that's why they're so sensitive. People are like, oh, they're just sensitive. No. No, they just look at the world differently.
Yeah.
The world is different to them because... And going back to awakenings, it's all combined. It's all fed into each other. Now, I'm not going to say they were born awake, but they're a lot closer than we are to their true purpose.
They're woke.
Okay. Yes. So now getting back to because I'm going to be, I'm probably going to be typing this out and I'm going to attach it or something. Can I do
or
that?
They can visit the podcast perhaps
yes.
and listen to all this again.
Yeah, well, I would like to I'm gonna actually write it down and so you can see it.
We can share screens and things like that.
Awesome. So, I'm getting better with technology, you guys. I've only been doing this a month, so so you're happy, you're unhappy, despondent. Yeah. Your next one, you're shifting your perspective, seeking answers in the meaning of life. Then you're starting to find your answers and having a breakthrough. Okay. Soul searching. I always say soul searching because that's literally what it is. You're looking for, and see, here we go back 200 years, enlightenment. That's what this is. It's enlightenment. Okay. Now people have had this before. I mean, thousands of years people have been experiencing. It's just happening quicker. It's happening in more people at a greater extent. And that's where the Great Awakening is happening. So it's kind of cool, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, people, I just don't think people realize how quickly it's actually happening. I just don't.
Well, and it's a good thing.
Mhm.
And the Great Awakening, and it's going to be good for everybody.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Right. So
And some of you guys don't want an awakening. I'm gonna be honest. That's part of it. Okay. Your house burns down. You're left with nothing. You start over, and you're kicking and screaming, and that was your awakening.
Yeah.
All right. So usually, I'm telling you, it's something to do with trauma.
Hello, McFly.
And I still say that that's what's made me psychic is my trauma. The trauma of I was bullied a lot as a kid. A lot. I mean, not just a little bit. It was really bad. It was really, and I'm not even going to go there because it's not even worth talking about because it's made me who I am. But that trauma has made me an empath because I'm very, very compassionate because I've been in their shoes.
Yeah.
So then on top of it, now I had a trauma and now I have ability that I never really realized I had. And now I hit 50 and my psychic ability is 50. I mean, it's probably double what it was even at 40. It just is. And you use it, you lose it. I use it a lot. So maybe I'm getting better. I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, you have anything to say?
No, the last point was what?
Well, the last point is that as we are going through, there's more and more people becoming empaths, and there's more people becoming awakened.
Right. And you're searching for the meaning in life. And if I go back to that indigo, that's a person who understands the energy, perhaps.
People,
right?
they came in as a slightly different entity.
Yeah.
They're slightly different. They're a little higher vibration, they came in that way. A whole generation of them came in.
Right. But they'll also, some people call them a bull in a china shop because they understand they're not going to waste a lot of energy on things. So they're going to be very direct.
Yes.
And say, hey, here, boom.
They just, there's a theory out there, like because the first there's the indigo children and then the crystal children, and they're a little different too.
Yeah.
And there's a theory that a lot of the autistic children are crystal children, and that's why they have everything locked in, and they have a heart because they're from a different dimension. Even people talk about that, like we go to different dimensions when we die. Like we're not just human beings. This is just one of our many, and they talk about that. So that's another thing that you can, I mean, I don't know. I just know that. And the kids are different. They're coming in differently. I think too, a lot of it's the computer. There's more knowledge being thrown out.
Yeah.
They're not just believing what they're being told. They're looking for it. They're experiencing it. They're trying it. And that's what's causing awakenings. Maybe even at younger ages even.
Yeah.
So, okay. So now, we're going back to this stage thing, right? Because I'm going to be talking. I could go on for months in this subject because it's so huge. Now, first you go through your loss. Oh my God, I was lost. Then you shift. Then you go, you're seeking your answers, seeking your meaning. Then you find your little breakthrough, right? Then you get lost again. You notice, did you notice that again? And you're like, oh my God. So you know what? That means you have to go deeper. You haven't come out of it yet. Now, for me, I'm going to be honest. I taught for 30 years. And so not only am I, experienced as a psychic, but I've probably seen 10,000 children. I always say I've raised over 10,000 children. And I'm going to tell you, the schools, just side note, it's not the kids, it's the system. I would teach forever if it were just the kids.
Oh, yeah.
It's the system. Anyway,
right. They say your job would be great if it wasn't for the people, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's just the way they make me. I'm too liberal.
Well, yes.
And the way I do everything, and they just need to just let me teach and quit telling me what to teach. You think I don't know what to teach?
I've in my career in finance, I've been the same way.
Okay,
I show up with red shoes. And,
Yeah.
So I always kind of push a little bit.
Yeah.
Peter says, in my youth, I've experienced significant trauma and caused trauma. In my adulthood and now 50s, I consciously strive for kindness and understanding, learning more and more how people experience their own reality.
Peter, I told you before, I thought you were an empath. I felt it off of you because it's just, I can, an empath can feel another empath, and a psychic can feel another psychic. And I don't understand how. It's an aura, or it's just an energy you give off. Like somebody can sit next to me. I go, oh, well, you have a psychic ability. And they go, how do you know? I do not. And like, you want to bet me? And they really, I go, oh yeah, you do. And then I'll ask them something, and they'll, oh, yeah, you're right. It's just, you can feel it. And I would say though, people think it's just me. I would say 30 to 40% of the human population have ability like me.
Well, I think
I'm not that unusual.
We're all created in God's image.
Yep.
Right. And that's pretty powerful.
Yep.
And if you understand that, I think we put a damper on our abilities, or somewhere in the book we've written, we say, at this time, I only want to go this far or this deep.
Yes.
Maybe. Right?
Yeah. Yep. And I know everybody that calls me, I would say 80% are in awakening, and they're like, I'm just so lost, and can you give me I can't do it for you. I can't do it but I can say, okay, try this, try that. And you'll understand once you come out of it. It's and you will come out of it. Don't worry, you will come out of this. Okay. So now.
So Tony asks if you can read. She says,
yes.
Can you tell on a person through this platform?
Yes. Tony, you got a question? Ask me a question. You guys, I will take questions. You
absolutely.
Can go ahead. Yes, I can tell. I can read okay. This is what I do. I didn't realize at first that I could do it through here, but I did it on Facebook, and I read everybody fine.
Yeah.
I pick up voice vibrations also. So when people call on the phone, I'll be like, I'll know why they're calling. Oh, you're calling for and they go, how'd you do that? I said, because I can feel it in your voice.
We actually did it last week.
Exactly. So I'm like, yeah. So that's no big deal to me. Yeah. But I also I look at your name. It's like, I don't know. I also look at names and can pick stuff. I think, Tony, you might have some psychic ability also, don't you? I think she does, because it feels like she might be like a healer or something of some sort. So, but you know what, though? We all have ability.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's okay. I was thinking about this because I have an hour and a half trip here every time I come.
Right.
But it gives me time to think, okay? And I was just thinking as I was traveling that okay, let me see if I can word this right. I got to think about how to word this right. Everybody's got ability, and everybody's not aware of it. But let's see, I don't know how to explain this. I got to put that more thought into this.
So Tony asks, can you tell anything about me? This is interesting.
Tony, what do you want to know? Are you changing jobs? Is there something about your job that you're not happy with? This feels like there's something about the job, something about your career, something you really want to do that you aren't doing. So I have to wait. It's easier to talk on a phone, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
But yeah. I'll get back to what I was thinking on the way here, because it's hard to explain what I was thinking as I was. And I will get back to it, but see how I meander a little.
Well, and that's kind of, we only use 10% of our brain.
That's exactly. Well, they have proven that there is a part of your brain that psychics are using that is very unused. Right. They've done scans on the brain. Mm-hmm. There's a spot way deep inside that I'm using two different places that other people don't always use. So,
well, that's why some people who have a brain cancer on the brain or something like that, right?
You love your job. Oh, but Tony, are you taking it to the next level? She answered it.
Yeah.
You're taking it to the next level. You're changing jobs. You're doing something different. Yeah.
And
that's what I'm saying. She's going to the next. Yeah. I said there was something to do with their job. Yeah. So I kind of figured that. So yeah, that's what at least it feels like. So every person brings a gift with them. Yes. Everybody's got something.
Yeah.
So getting back to, I got maybe a couple minutes left. What I'm getting back to is for the rest of Awakenings.
About 12 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. For Awakenings is now, I remember I said, I'm going back again. I said, first we are unhappy, you're lost, right? Then you shift your perspective. Then you go for your answers. Then you got it, and then you're lost again a little bit, but you are going to pull yourself out of it. So, and when you end up finally pulling yourself out of it, you're like joyful because it's like you're aligned again.
Yeah.
Now, listen to some of these, because I don't know if you felt any of this. If you're in an awakening, this is some of the stuff you might feel. You feel like you're living a false life. You're like, it's just a lie. You feel like you're living a lie, and you just all of a sudden you can't do it anymore. Okay. You want your meaning and purpose. You begin asking those really deep spiritual questions. You're like, okay, yeah, like, why am I here? And why are we here? Why did God even do this? What is, it's all of that. You like to be alone. That's one other thing. All of a sudden, people that don't like being alone love to be alone. I like being alone. I think because I'm an empath and I absorb people's energy that I have to be alone. I have to. No offense to my husband who's listening right now, but 5 months he was in my house. I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. I was like, just get it. I was dancing when he went back to work because I just need to be alone.
Well, and for someone who has your ability, you're exuding a lot of energy throughout the day. And when you're helping people as an empath, your energy is depleting quickly. So that alone time allows you to recharge, right?
Yeah. So, and I like to be outside. And that's another thing. All of a sudden you like the outdoors, you like the fresh air and sunshine and Tony, you can call me. You know what? Yeah. We didn't supply my phone number today.
It's scrolling right along the bottom.
Oh, there. It's at the bottom. You can call me.
Yep.
The bottom said the number's on the bottom.
844-609-0009.
Tony, somebody's coming through for you. I'm a medium.
844-609-0009.
I want to say the hair is red, like a reddish color. Somebody's coming through right now. I see hair first, by the way.
Yeah.
So back to see how I meander. But I'm on the right subject. But coming back to what we were saying for awakenings, all of a sudden you want you want to quit your job. That's me. That's where I've been. Authenticity, truth. You become much more sensitive, much more adult. Your intuition becomes better. Notice synchronicities, like things keep happening and throwing it in your face all the time. Like I'll tell you about a story in a minute. I don't want to tell it because it's a long story. But anyway, it just keeps smacking me in my face.
Sure.
Like, yeah. Deja vu. You end up with a lot. This is me. I had tons of the district I'm working at because I left my school district. 25 years. I just couldn't do it anymore. They started harassing me. I said, you know what? You can kiss my, you know what? So I just literally, I applied, got a different, yep. I took a huge pay cut, didn't care. Everything's been fine.
That's right.
I'm actually pretty happy. I mean, where I'm at now,
It's so funny because that's what happened to me just here in February. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just couldn't, like synchronicity, me getting put through to McHenry, Illinois, when so let me tell you really fast, talk about awakenings and synchronicity and all this. I literally was on the computer about 4 months ago, something like that, typing about how to start my own podcast. I picked up my phone. I said, I need to check my banker and see if I can get my mortgage. Because I'm looking at the mortgage rates going, oh, maybe I can get them cheaper. So I call, and who do I get put through? Now, what the chances and the odds of that?
Right.
I got put through to McHenry, Illinois. I live in Beloit, Wisconsin. They're not connected in any way, shape, or form. How I got connected. So I'm talking to him. He picks the phone up and to Kent, and I pick up the phone, and I'm talking back and forth, and he said something about a podcast or something like that. And I go, yeah, what? Oh no, I know how it got started. I said, I have my own business. And you asked me what I do.
Yes.
And I go, I'm a psychic. Dead silence for like 5 minutes. And then he goes, I got a podcast. I'm looking for somebody like you. And I'm like, really? That was weird. And that's how we got connected. But here we go. Alignment again.
Right.
Alignment. If I hadn't been looking for a podcast, if I had, do you know what I'm saying? I'm putting the energy out there. It took me a long time to tell people I'm a psychic also. I was very persecuted in my last school
Well,
system.
sure.
That they told me I was a devil worshiper, and they were trying to get me fired all the time. And that had a lot or they'd laugh at me and say I was stupid and phony. And I will tell you guys right now, I will guarantee my reading.
Yeah.
I will guarantee it. Okay. If you do not like what I have to say, or if I'm off and you don't agree with all the stuff I had to say, or the people that came through, I give you your money back. So I'm not in this for the money. This is a spiritual thing, and it makes me happy. And it does make me happy.
Yeah.
It's like it picks up my vibration. I feel much better when I'm doing this. So, okay. So, Tony, give me a call. I got a call. I got the phone right here. Give me a call. You can call right on here, or do you want to do it privately? If you want to do it privately and visit, we should put this at the bottom too, enchantedsky.com. We do have it. You can call and you can book a reading for me. Now, if you want to make a phone call there, that'll be on screen. So if you don't want to do on screen and you want to be a private reading, I do tell people very, very personal information sometimes. Sure. Now, so that you know. And I will.
She says red hair. You're picking up somebody with red hair, Tony says.
Yeah, I am. Red hair. Yeah, I picked up red hair. This could be a well, it looks red. It might be brownish red, but grandmother. I want to say that it might have been dyed. It might not have been really red. It might have been, you know what I'm saying? But it's red. I'm picking up really red hair. So I don't know who this is from, unless it's for Peter. Peter, you don't have anybody.
He's redhead.
Well, he has I wonder if I'm picking up Peter's red hair.
I don't know.
No, you know what, Peter? Do you have people in your life that are back in your family that are redheads? Tony, I might be picking up Peter because your guys are all on here together, and it's all energy I get together collectively.
Right.
So I'm just picking up somebody's got red hair and they're coming through, and it's
Peter.
a woman.
Peter hates his job too.
So yeah. Well, you know what?
He'd love to change jobs.
I am like this is my awakening right here. This is, I don't know if anybody knew that, but I'm in a process
in the zone.
I'm letting it happen. I'm preparing to retire. So
you could just see it around you though. I mean, you? Yeah.
I've been told by the end of this year, it's just going to explode, and it already has. So one will always include other psychics. I'm never jealous of anybody.
Sure.
You can't be, that's not right. 2, I have really high morals. 3, I just let my word of mouth speak for me, like other people who had readings, and that's a lot of word of mouth is big in this business. So
it says tons of redheads in his.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tony. I think I'm picking up Peter. I got a long-haired woman, thick. I want to say she has some type of accent. Like if she doesn't sound like me, so it could even be an Eastern accent, or it could be Irish, or it could be something. Oh, yeah, Peter, don't get that confused. I love my job at the station.
Yeah.
Pete, I go on all the time on your phone, listen to your music. You played really weird music the other day.
He does.
Because sometimes that's
the joy of it.
Couple days before, he was playing my stuff because I'm a 60s, 70s person. He was playing all that for me. But remember, I'm online with the kids. So I'm basically like offline doing work, and I'm listening to him, and then I go online with the kids. Right. So so anyway, back to here we go again. Off my subject. I'm almost done though.
About 3 minutes.
Okay, for awakenings, I'm going to be covering this for a long time because I bet you I got at least four episodes of this because it just takes so much because it's such a big subject. It's huge. Okay, and I'm going alphabetical.
All of Peter's mom's side is English and Irish.
Thank you, Pete. I wanted to say this person has an Irish accent with long red hair. Sorry, Tony. That's who I picked up.
Call her, Tony.
Yeah, Tony, you can call me. I picked up Peter. Sorry, I didn't. It's because you're all like on alignment together, and you have to. When they come to me, they come collectively. So even though, like Tony, you don't like personally know Peter, but you do. I don't know if that because we're all connected. So then they'll all come at once. So, Pete, I got a message for you. Call me later. All right. I don't know if I want to tell you that.
Oh, okay? Let's do it. Put it out there.
You're supposed to quit your job. He's like, life's too short. And he goes, if you put the right energy into this studio, it's going to do well. Put a little bit more, like change something. There's something that needs to be changed. If you change it slightly, it'll explode. I don't know what that means.
Maybe the vacuum. Maybe we just need the vacuum.
I don't know. It's changing a perspective or something that you're doing business-wise, and I don't understand that. So I just am repeating what they're telling me.
Sure.
Okay. So hey, that was like, maybe that was for your message too.
Thank you. Yeah.
So all right. Well, I'm gonna be signing off here. I didn't really get we're so much to explain with this, you guys. It blows your mind, but you will know when you're in an awakening. And if you're awakening, keep watching me, because I'm gonna help you try to get through it and give you guys some advice. So okay. Yeah. We ready?
Yeah, and remember, this will be out on podcasts.
Yes.
So go to anchor.fm/metaphysical meanderings, and also out on Spotify. Right now, it's growing, but you can catch this episode out there. Come back next week as we're going to continue talking about awakenings right here with Master Psychic Lana Duncan Hartgraves.
Okay. I cannot. Oh, you want me to cancel? There we go. I am ready. There you go.